Pete Jaschinski actually bought another grove. I'm not sure when that was, but it's 20 acres instead of his starter grove, which is 13 acres. So I don't even have 5 acres, so all these numbers are pretty daunting to me, but somehow Pete just jumped right into the farming business and has done really well as far as managing what varieties he grows, what fruits he grows, and being able to deliver the product to the appropriate customers, and getting these large customers to buy large amounts of his fruit. So I'd really like to know, well, of course, when you got the 20-acre grove, and what lessons you've learned from your starter grove of 13 acres that you have applied to your new property. Because, we always are learning something, and I'm sure that you have changed something about how you farm the new 20 acres versus the original 13 acres.
The difference is that this one, the old one was, the trees were all interspersed, and so I had trouble with watering, like when I didn't want to water the longans, or I didn't want to water lychees. The longans were in the same area, and so as a result I had trouble, because at certain times of the year longans require water and lychees at the same time don't, so it was a problem. Plus the jackfruit, they like to have water a lot more year-round than other things. They don't like a lot of water. Like right now with the rains we've had so much, a lot of my jackfruit are suffering. Even though I haven't watered them a bit for the last month, they're still suffering. But they're starting to do pretty good right now. I don't know why, but we haven't given them any water and haven't fertilized them for quite a while. But for some reason they're starting to do good. Usually this time of year they kind of slow down, but they're doing better this year. This jackfruit tree usually doesn't have fruit on this time of the year. It kind of just has fruit on in summer, even with the different watering systems I have. But this one is probably because of the rain, and which is one of the reasons we separated in this new farm. We have everything separated. Like jackfruit is on its own. It's like a whole acre of jackfruit, and it's on its own watering system. I can control the water for the jackfruit, and it's different than the lychees. The lychees are there's like 5 acres, or I think 7 acres of lychees here for this farm, and we have different watering systems for everything. We have mangoes, which get hardly any water, and we grow them right in the same section as we grow passion fruit. We have like a whole acre of passion fruit, and passion fruit are similar to mangoes. They don't like a lot of water at all, and we hardly ever give the passion fruit water, and we hardly ever give the mangoes water, and we can control that because they're on their own watering system.
I know we're taking you away from a lot of work, so I know we can't go out and see the passion vine, but do you grow that on trellis, or
yeah,
how do you?
We grow it on, well, not a trellis. It's not a standard trellis. We just put 4x4s in the ground, and we have a whole row of them, like 250 feet long, of 4x4s in the ground, and then we put a wire cable. It's actually an airline. It's high tensile.
Twisted.
No, it's
metal?
not twisted.
No.
It's solid strength, high strength metal, and we stretch it from one end to the other. Put a rock on one side and tie it to the rock on one side, and then go up into the 4x4s with a notch in the 4x4s, and it goes 200 feet, and then down to another rock at the other end. There's 4x4s every 20 feet or so, interspersed with bamboo poles. It's just because we don't really need 4x4s every 10, 15 feet. And all you have to do is get the passion fruit on a little skinny bamboo to grow up to the wire. Once it gets to the wire, it holds on for dear life, and it'll grow all the way along there. And you don't want it to grow any higher because then you have trouble with controlling it, and it just grows and does real fun. Actually, we had one on one end of the wire was next to a pine tree, and it got into the pine tree and went up 50 feet up in the air. And there
Hard to pick those.
And, well, the thing with passion fruit, you don't pick passion fruit. Passion fruit, you have to
drop.
You have to drop. So when they drop 50 feet up in the air, that was okay. Except sometimes they cracked when they fell down. So
Yeah, the passion vine, it can go out like 6 feet or something, maybe even further before it starts dropping. And so, yeah, I've had it go into the electric lines from a 6-foot fence, and, because it just sends up that wishful thinking growth. And if it finds something, great, and if not, it finds something lower.
Yeah, and they'll grow like almost a foot a day sometimes, I think, and they grow really quick, and so it's easy for them to get up 50 feet up in the air before you know it.
So passion vine, you've got a whole acre of that.
Yeah.
And so there must be a lot of demand for the fruit. I mean, I love it, but
yeah, that's the reason we went into it. We started out with a small amount. We started selling them. We had everybody in the world we were selling them to that really wanted. Some places didn't have the right customers, but some places had very good customers, and they would take 60 or 70 pounds a week, and maybe even more. I forgot. But last year we were selling quite a bit each week to these stores, and we started looking around for more stores, and we found a lot more stores that would take it. So there's a good market. Down in Homestead, they have a lot of them. They sell those up in New York, and they have big, they like 2 or 3 or 4 acres of them. They pick them and sell them up to New York.
So are you growing edulous, the yellow one?
Well, I started growing. Yeah, that's what I've been growing, the yellow one. But I started growing the other ones too. Now I haven't had any fruit from them because people once in a while ask for them. But one person told me that the edulous has a lot more health benefits than the purple one, which I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah. They're all tasty. It's a nice fruit. And so then you also grow dragon fruit?
Dragon fruit, we have like 3 acres of dragon fruit. We just picked a large crop of like, I think it was like 1,000 pounds 2 weeks ago, which would be our last crop for the season, last large crop for the season, because they fruit from like May through like October, and then in winter they start growing. And in summer they don't produce much growth, they just produce fruit. And in winter they tend to grow their new growth. And so during the hurricane we did pretty well with the dragon fruit. Some people I talked to said they got all flattened, but we spent like 3 days putting landscape timbers holding up the trellises. Wow. And hardly any of them fell over.
Great. Yeah, it's a lot of work to get prepared for the hurricane. So you have the dragon fruit and passion fruit, lychee longan, jackfruit. With the jackfruit, you get jackfruit most of the year. Is there anything in particular any reason that you have such a long season?
I don't know, but at my old farm, I have a shade house, and I had a jackfruit tree growing right next to it. And it tended to have fruit just about year round. So I theorized that, but in the shade house, we water, a lot more than the rest of the thing around here, because we got small little pots, and they have to have water all the time. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking that maybe they just got more water than the rest of the jackfruit. And so my theory was that more water tended to give them more growth, which made them grow year round. Mm-hmm. So that's what I tried. But this year I'm not too sure. Like in this spring I had trouble with my jackfruit. We weren't getting as much production as we usually did, but I think I gave it too much water.
Yeah,
so
finding the nice balance is tough.
So I think I was watering them like 60 minutes a day with microjets, and I probably should have only watered them like 15 to 20 a day.
So years ago, I was talking to a major jackfruit grower down in Homestead, and he said that every jackfruit that he grew was from seed. Did you plant grafted jackfruit or seed?
Seed, yeah. Most of them came from seeds from trees like this. This is a super Thai, and we bought this one as it's a really good variety, but they said that you could grow them from seed, and they would come true to the mother plant, which didn't work out that well for us.
Not always true.
Yeah. But the fruit, we still, they depends on the fruit, and we sell them to stores, and different stores like the soft kind, most stores like American stores like the hard kind, but we find stores that'll take either kind, and so it doesn't really matter that much.
So are there any other fruits that you grow on this 20-acre parcel?
Sugar apple. We have some pomegranate, which we haven't been successful with growing yet. We've tried different things, but we're just kind of experimenting with them. We get the fruit to get big size, but they crack open all the time. But I've talked to some experts, and they've said that I need to give them more calcium and more
boron,
sulfur. That's what they told me.
Calcium's real important.
Yeah, I don't have enough time usually to give them correct amount of stuff, because I have so much stuff there that everything has its own requirements for fertilizer, and so some things don't get the requirements that they require.
Yeah.
And we also grow, what else do we grow? Longans. We have an acre of longans over there, and there's like 7 acres of lychee, with 2 acres of sweetheart, and 4 acres of Mauritius, and 1 acre of rooster. Rooster got wiped out this year from the birds because we couldn't sit there all day long with a shotgun, and that was a problem. We used to have we were growing blueberries over there too, and they did fine, except blueberries require a lot of weeding, and so we had trouble finding people that are willing to go out in 110 degrees to weed in summer, so that didn't work out too much.
Do you grow sapodilla?
Yeah, we have sapodilla. We have, both farms have sapodilla. And we sell quite a bit of that. And they usually, it's a nice fruit to grow for us because we don't have that much growing in the winter, and we can get sapodilla. Last year we started our season for sapodilla in November. This year it's probably going to be the end of January. But last year was early for sapodilla. This year it's probably going to be a normal season for sapodilla.
So is there any other fruit that you grow or that you would like to grow or try growing? See if it works out for you?
Well, we put in a big greenhouse 2 years ago. It's 4,000 square feet and by 20 feet high, and we're growing soursop in it.
Oh.
The reason we're growing it inside there is because in winter it gets cold here in Loxahatchee. Mm-hmm. Last year we even had frost here in Loxahatchee, even though everybody else's was a really warm year. We still had frost here.
Yeah. It's like 10 or 15 degree difference between here and where I am, and it's the same county, and what is it, 35 minutes away or something like that.
It got down to 47 last week, or 2 days ago out here.
Mm-hmm.
And probably only got down to like 52 or something like that by you.
Yeah.
And but the problem is with soursop, they'll still stay alive if it gets down to 32, but they lose all the leaves, which means you're going to lose the whole crop. So my theory is I want to see if I can grow soursop year round by putting them inside of the greenhouse, but we haven't succeeded yet. And we had a little setback from the hurricane. It tore our plastic off. We left on and it tore it off. I thought it would be okay because it went through Matthew okay, but this one was too strong.
Yeah, it's hard to know what precautions to take because you don't want to waste time over preparing, but then you have to deal with the damage sometimes, unexpected damage. But
and we're also growing, another thing we just started over there is Cabo. We got like about ½ acre of Cabo over there. And
should make the Brazilians very happy.
There's a really good market for that, but they're very difficult to grow, so I don't know. how we're going to do with that.
Yeah, I've got a few plants, but yeah, it's yeah. So that's great. It's great to find out about all the things that you grow, and thanks so much for your tips on growing them. And oh, one last thing that we haven't mentioned yet. You did mention that you lost one planting of mangoes, but I know you have some mangoes now.
Yeah.
And so what varieties do well for you, and you basically you don't water them very much at all here.
Some of the experts say never grow mangoes in Loxahatchee. So
of course Erickson's grows it, right next to the lake. So.
Yeah. But I think you have to give them a lot of fungicide to keep them looking healthy.
Clean, yeah.
But we do most of the varieties I have get a lot of anthracnose on them, and we don't like to really spray for anything. We don't spray any insecticides at all. The only thing we spray is like copper. And we don't want to do anything we try to be organic, but there's some things we can't. Some of the weeds get out of control, so we have to use Roundup once in a while. But we try to do everything organically if possible. So as a result, mangoes out here really need some strong fungicides, and refuse to do that. So
right, you've got copper and sulfur that are organic controls, and they've got another couple that are OMRI approved or whatever. But yeah, it is hard. They do have some brutal chemicals out there, but you have to wonder what you're doing to the everything when you spray those. So yeah, it's great that you limit yourself to the more friendly fungicides.
Yeah.
Environmentally friendly. But yeah, Pete, thanks so much for telling us about all the stuff that you grow, and it's been very interesting, and I need to let you get back to work. I know
Okay.
that, but
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.